Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Bob's Woodshop. After waiting 6 weeks, I stopped over to my local woodcraft in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and picked up my Sawstop professional cabinet saw, 3 horsepower. And this is loading it up. My buddy Ken and I drove over there, which is about an hour away. And we got it home and we lowered the saw off the back of the truck with some ramps that a buddy of mine have. And here we are going through and setting this up. I would recommend getting a buddy to help you with this. This saw is pretty heavy and 2 people can manage this pretty easily. As we got into it, we've noticed that their wings were not completely flat with the table. So we called Sawstop technical support, and they had a quick fix for this. What we had done is put the bolts on each end, and what they suggested, put the 2 bolts in the center first, and then there's some flexibility in the cast iron. So you put the bolts in the center first, and then put the bolts on each end as a secondary measure, and that will get everything nice and flush and the way it's supposed to be. So we left at 9 o'clock in the morning. It was an hour away. We probably spent an hour in the store. And then we came back and the saw was all done, getting put together by 4 o'clock. So I'd say the construction of the saw took about 4 hours. As other people have said, the instructions are great. The way it's packaged is great. There's no flaws at all in the saw. So I was very happy with this. The last hour or so I did by myself. After the wings are on, it's pretty easy. The reason I bought this saw, I've been operating table saws for about 50 years. And I think I've had a combination of good table saw techniques and probably a bit of luck. And now that I'm spending much more time in the shop since I'm retired, I just think this type of saw is a good idea. The finger sensing technology is awesome, and I hope I never have to activate that brake system. But with 4,000 amputations happening a year and thousands of other incidents, I figured it's just a good idea to have this type of technology in the shop. So I just traded in my Grizzly G0691, which was a great saw, and I had it for 10 years. It's basically the same size of this. The thing I did not like about the Grizzly is it did not have good dust collection. And this saw has a shroud underneath the blade, as well as a dust hose that goes to the back of the saw. Hey, one thing I want to explain to folks is once I got this set up, the first thing I want to do is get rid of this. I really don't like these types of push sticks for a couple of different reasons. And let me explain that to you. I cut a lot of thin stock. And when I'm cutting this thin stock, it's very easy, and it's happened to me one time. As I was pushing the stock through the saw with this kind of push stick, the pusher actually came and hit the saw blade. And when that happened, it kicked back like this, and it hurt my shoulder when that happened. So I'm not a fan of this type of push stick. I'm a much better, bigger fan of this type of push stick, where you can get both forward pressure and downward pressure. All right, so you get much more control doing that. If you just have pressure going this way, there is a chance that the wood's going to come up off the saw blade. So come on over. I want to show you what I'm going to do with this one. Come over here. Okay, so if you wanted to make yourself a wooden version of this, just go ahead and use this as a template. But again, you don't get the downward pressure on this. So I'm just going to destroy it. And that's how I feel about that type of push stick. Okay, so what do I think? The assembly process went pretty smoothly. I really didn't have any troubles with this at all. I chose not to buy one of the mobile bases from Sawstop. I already had this Rockler version, and I didn't see the need to replace that with the Sawstop version. The entire saw went together pretty easily, except for using these ones that had these Allen keys that came with it to assemble the on-off switch down here. You're much better off using a long T-handle to get into this one cap screw in here. Other than that, it was pretty easy. I am going to use my existing outfeed table for now. And I'm also working on the dust collection system. Right now I'm going to just have this set up. So when I'm turning the saw on the left, I can just reach down and turn this little Raycon blower on and off. And I really like how the shroud underneath the blade, as well as the 4-inch tube, comes out the back of that. So, and that's one of the big reasons, the second biggest reason I bought the saw. Of course, the finger sensing technology was the main one. I chose the 30-inch saw, not the 36 or the 52. With that, you get what's called the premium fence, which I would have much preferred the big T fence that came with it, but that's not available on this particular saw. If I had known that, I would have opted for the extra 6 inches. This section here, this whole section, there is a side table that comes with the saw. And my plan is instead to make a router table attachment in here. So I cut out these various pieces of oak, padauk, maple, and walnut. I'm going to make my own. I think the expense from Sawstop is about $600 for that same feature, and I thought that was kind of pricey. So the next project, yes, will be the router table attachment. So, okay, that's it for this episode of Bob's Woodshop. And yeah, I'm looking forward to using this saw. I did run it yesterday in order to cut up these pieces of wood, and it performed effortlessly. And I'm very impressed with the saw. The fit and finish is fantastic on this. So until next time, I'll see you on another episode of Bob's Woodshop. So if you like my content, don't forget, please like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned because I got several projects that I'm thinking about as upgrades to this saw. See you next time.